Randy for Thunderhorse Descendant. I'm here today because today we have project number 2 from July's Coastal Breeze Bargain Bead Box for July 2022. So, this is project number 2. Now, this is something that we haven't done before. I don't think. Maybe we did. I don't remember. Anyway, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6. I have 6 pairs of earrings, possibly 7 if we're feeling snazzy. So we're going to make these today, and this is going to all be considered project number 2 for the earrings. So if you guys have been following along with us, thank you so much for joining in on the Bargain Bead Box mini-series. I'm so happy that you're here. Please like, subscribe, make a comment, help your girl out. Visit my website, www.thunderhorse-descendant.com for beading supplies, and www.thunderhorse-descendantjewelry.com for handmade items that I have made, including maybe some of these, depending on where we get. So, without further ado, let's get on down to the mat, get this party started. So, the first one we're going to start with is probably the most intricate, so we're just going to get that one out of the way first. So that is this guy that we had discussed. This one right here. Now, by the way, we are in a working studio, so if you're hearing all kinds of noise and things, that's because we're doing worky things. So this is this guy. Now, this is what he's going to look like. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. I had to do some adjustments on my camera, but hopefully you can see it. So the situation here is putting these little guys in here so they look like buttons, right? Okay, so originally I was going to do this with jump rings, but did not turn out that way because I did not have thin enough jump rings to do that. So instead, we're going to get out some 26 gauge wire. Here I have some 26 gauge wire, artistic wire. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to wire wrap all of our bead caps. So these are just your run-of-the-mill bead caps. Okay. And we're going to wire wrap them together. So I'm trying to be zoomed in, but not so much. I don't know. The best situation is for this. So it's pretty easy. What we're going to do is we are just going to create a wire wrapped loop with very small loops. You can see here that I'm pretty far down, and I'm just going to create a wire wrapped loop to begin with. Hi, Bunsen. Okay, so there's my first loop. I'm going to then attach, not to the middle of the bead cap, but onto one of the holes. I hope you can see. Onto one of the holes that is in the bead cap. So this is where I was originally going to put jump rings, but they didn't fit. But that's fine. This will just take a little bit longer, but it's okay. So then we're just going to wrap this around, and I'm going to do 3, 2, 3. Oh my, I don't know what's happening up there. Okay. So there we go. We got our first one wrapped up. On one side. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim my wire here. And we're just going to keep using that wire, so I'm not worried about it. And on the other side of this, I'm going to leave a little bit of space for my 3 wraps. Okay. And I'm going to bend And I'm going to create another little wire wrapped loop. So this is what I have. And now I'm going to attach on the next ring. So the thing about this is you want to make sure that you're getting all of your bead caps on the same direction. Okay, that's kind of the only super important part of the process. There's a fly. Super important part of the process that I can tell you. And we're going to wrap this 1, 2, 3. So then when we're cutting this wire, you guys, I know this is like super teeny tiny wire and I'm trying to be zoomed in. I don't know how far I need to go. But this should look like one continuous piece of just wrapped wire. Okay. So I'm going to tuck that little teeny tiny tail in. Okay. And then I got to make sure these are both going the same direction, the loops, so that these lay this way, like little open cups, okay? So now we have the next one to do. We're going to use the same little piece of wire, and we're going to create a little wrapped loop. Easy peasy. Add him on here. And we're going to get all the wrap loop practice we need today. Let me tell you what. 1, 2. Fly is bothering me. 3. I got Bunsen on the hunt to get him. Okay. There we go. We gotta tuck that little tail. So now I'm going to again give a little trim here. So we're still using that one piece of wire. And I'm going to come here and leave enough space for 3 little loops. And get this last guy on there. And this is like the hardest part of the whole bit. This little tiny stuff. One, 2. My wire's pretty little. And he's kind of sticking out funny, so I want to trim him. 3. Alright. So now we look to see that all of these are laying the right direction. If they're not, you can give them a little twist. You can get away with about a half a twist without breaking anything. Okay, so here we are. We've got our 3 little guys all wired together. Now we need to put on, you can see that's what they look like. We need to put on our little shell. So using the same piece of wire we've been using, we're going to create another wire wrap loop. And this one, excuse me, this one you want to make just a smidge bigger because he's got to get around this hole in the shell. And then one, 2, Bunsen's just meowing. What is it, Mr. Bunsen? You don't want to make earrings right now? No, I would like to eat some food. Mr. Bunsen is hungry. Okay. So now I have the front. Here's the front, and I want to make sure the front is lined up with the open cups. Okay, so now again, same deal. I'm going to leave enough space for about 3 little wraps, and I'm going to come over the top here. Whoop. Make a little loop, and we're going to attach onto the bottom here. Now you're going to notice that on this bottom one there's no like center hole. It's like the 2 sides of the star, so you kind of just got to pick one. Any one will work. And then we wrap 3 down. 1, 2, 3, and then if there is any space, mine doesn't have any space, but if there is extra space, you go ahead, fill that space in, so it looks just like one wire wrapped piece. Okay. So then when I lay it down, everything should look, oh, I got my guy on there backwards. Spin it. Everything should look and be in the right direction like so. Okay, open cups. Open the inside of the bead cap so it's like an open cup, and then the front side of the shell. Okay, the next part is super easy. We're going to get 3 head pins. Mine are silver, they're ball head pins. You could use flat head pins if you want to, whatever you got. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to take our bead. We're going to put our bead on there. Easy peasy. And we are going to thread this into the cup. We're going to start at the bottom. So we're just going to thread that into the center hole of the spacer. Okay, so just thread that on. Now I am going to trim this. What we're going to do with it is we're going to wrap it up like it's like a shank button, basically. So you want to, I'm going to do mine so they wrap around twice, just for because. So in order to do that, I'm going to take my round nose and I'm just going to start making a little loop. So I'm just going to keep going and I'm just going to keep wrapping until I touch the cup here. Okay, we just want to get them on there for now. We'll tighten them up after we're done getting them all on there. So there's one. Then we're going to do the next one. Put the bead on. Put the bead through the spacer, the second one. Okay, gonna give them a little trim, and then we're going to wrap. So this is what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the tippy tip of the wire and I'm wrapping just like you would make a simple loop. I'm gonna let go of pressure, come back, and just keep wrapping and keep wrapping, and eventually I'm gonna get 2 pieces of wire. I'm gonna keep wrapping. Okay, and it's going to kind of look like a little curlicue. And for right now, they're going to be loose in there. That's fine. We're going to tighten them up after we get everything together. For this last one, what we're going to do is we're going to put the bead on. This one's a little different. Put the bead on. Go to the top. Put him on the spacer, and then right here we're going to take our chain nose and we're going to go right behind the bead, right behind the bead cap, and we're going to make a 90-degree angle. So you're just going to bend it up like so. So it kind of looks like an L or like a little fish shape, right? Like a fish hook kind of deal. Okay, once you got that, we're going to wire this as normal, as we normally would. Just doing a wire wrapped loop. So I'm going to gauge this based on the top of the spacer. I'm going to bend and I go over the top, make a wire wrapped loop. This fly's gotta go. And then I'm going to wrap this. Now this is kind of short, so I'm going to go ahead and get my other plier here, and I'm going to just start wrapping down. So with this, you have to wrap all the way down to the spacer. So it might be more than 3, but you have to get all the way down to reinforce it and also to keep it tight. Okay. So these little earrings right here, they kind of reminded me of, I don't know, kind of like some little vintagey earrings. Okay, so as I'm getting closer to the spacer, it's getting a little harder to wrap, so I'm going to go ahead and just hold the bead, and I'm going to just follow this around with my chain nose. Get that everything tucked in. Okay, so now you may have straightened it a little bit. You're just going to give it a little slight little bend again. And if there is a tail, you can go ahead and cut that off, because you need to have that little bend in order for it to stand up straight. Okay, there we go. So that one is tight and good. Now we're going to move down and we're going to tighten up these ones on the bottom here. So we've rolled them up with the round nose, but now we need to take the chain nose plier, and we're just going to, you can see that maybe there's a tail sticking out or there's something. We're just going to tighten them a little more. You don't want to tighten them too much, because if you do, you could possibly break your bead. Bunsen does not want to do beading right now. Alright, so now I am going to add a jump ring. I'm just going to use a round jump ring, silver one, and trying to see what kind of jump ring I use on there. This other one, because I want to make sure they're the same. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think so. So a couple of things I wanted to mention with these little earrings is in the back here, and I'm going to try to show you the best I can. In the back here, right here, you can see. So when you're tightening these up, what you want is for them to not be showing any looseness in the front of the spacer when they're hanging, like when they're dangling. You don't want it to be loose. And the way you do that is you have to keep this out straight like a shank button would be. Okay? You don't try to push it into the bead. It has to be sticking out. So you can see through here. It's got to be sticking out like a shank button back. And then that's what's going to tighten it up. So that's kind of the only thing with that. Other than that, I think they turned out really cute. I really like them. They kind of seem, I think I would like them a lot better if I did them in like, maybe like a vintage bronze or something. Because I like this little part. It's kind of just different. I like the little part where it goes through, looks like a button. But it does make it look kind of like super cute and interesting. Kind of vintagey. That's how it feels to me. But I do like those. So these are the first ones.